You are listening to ChartingWealth.com for Tuesday, the 30th of August, 2016. What do we have going on in the market? Well, this is the 10 minutes you need to figure out what's really happening and learn to read these charts. Your pathway to wealth. Okay, let's talk about the stock charts. What do we see going on in the total market as represented by IYY, an exchange-traded fund that tracks the whole market? Well, we crossed over going down back on the two-day candle on the 22nd. After that, we had an incredible divergence that I have not seen that I recall before, where we had the market tick up for two-day candles on both the 22nd and then the 24th. The price movement went up as the market itself went down. That was followed later on the 26th by a down day. What happened over the course of the last day? Well, we actually see the market recover a little bit, up 0.59%, but that entire movement was within the down candle on the prior 2 days. This candle has not finished, the new candle for the 29th. We'll just have to wait and see how it actually finishes drawing itself. Now, what we want to do is we want to pay attention to our 2-day trend line. We have a downtrending line. The market closed below that. We also have the derivative oscillator that heated up even though it was a little bit of an up day. So continue to pay attention more to the indicators actually tell us what's happening. They're the things that really tell us what's happening. And we do have the MACD continues to move down. It's still downtrending. It is still well below the signal line, and the derivative oscillator has heated up about more than doubled in its downward momentum. So continue to pay attention to what's going on in this market. For those of you who jumped in when we saw all of this move over and we had a double down, that means that we had the short chart, the 4-hour chart, rotate over at the same time we saw the 2-day chart rotate over. We've seen that happen multiple times in the last many months, and every time it's occurred, it has been a good portent of jumping in. So those of you who did, you have seen good results. Now, I will give you again, we are not a stock calling service. We are an education firm. We're talking about you using virtual money. That is going and opening yourself up an account at any of the online brokers, setting up a virtual trading account and practicing. Once you get good at doing this, you can do whatever you want with the skill set you build. But we are not a stock calling service. We're an education firm. And hopefully we're giving you one heck of an education if you join us every day for 10 minutes as we ask. Fill out your daily market worksheet. All of this information, including your How to Read a Stock Chart video, the layout that we use at freestockcharts.com, and the daily worksheet are all available if you subscribe to us at our website. What will you get for free? You'll get this daily broadcast along with our weekly review and forecast. If you've not heard it yet, you need to listen to it. You can find it there also at chartingwealth.com. Now, let's move over and take a look at the 2-day chart on the S&P 500. What has happened on the S&P 500? Well, we have the weekly chart, the weekly trend line drawn on here, which has been penetrated. We also have drawn a down 2-day trend line with the new crossover that occurred on the 22nd. Like the total market, the S&P 500 recovered a little bit, 0.49% for the day. That is a doji. We have basically a cross, meaning that we opened and closed around the same point. And as far as the price movement goes on our Heiken Ashi average pace candlesticks, we see a doji, a lot of indecision. If we look at our indicators, though, we see the MACD has continued to move down along with the signal line, and derivative oscillator doubled, more than doubled in its downward momentum. So we have a downtrending market at this point below the weekly trend line. Now let's look at the 4-hour chart and see what we see. We see there was up movement in the morning and the afternoon, still below the weekly trend line and a little bit above the 2-day trend line. So we'll continue to watch. Hasn't crossed over going up yet. Now again, this may be a pullback point. If indeed it is, and we have a crossover going up, all the better. We can wait for it to cross back over going down, and if the 2-day chart is still moving down, we trend follow it when the short chart crosses over going down. This is a very simple trend following method that we use week in, week out, year in, year out. One of the safest ways to find a trend is to watch it set up on the big chart, watch the small chart back up, that is move in the opposite direction, and then when it breaks and moves in the direction of the large chart after the backup, that's when you jump in. Now, is it always guaranteed to do that? No, sometimes the whole thing turns over and goes in the opposite direction. But when it does do that, and remember, we don't have to trade every day like the guys on Wall Street. We wait for the best trades. When we find them, we take them. And again, virtual trades for you to practice with. All right, that's where we are on the S&P 500. Before we run out of time, let's quickly go to the Qs. Qs was up 0.14%, actually crossed over on the 26th going down, so we're in a confirmed down move. We also have our price movement below the weekly trend line, and we're going to have to redraw when we're able to at some point our 2-day trend line. Now, if we look intraday, what do we see going on? Well, we saw that the Qs was up a little bit throughout the course of the day. Again, 0.14%. Gosh, what, a third of what the total market was up? So not a lot of up movement. Derivative oscillator still in the negative. We're still in a confirmed downtrend on that short chart ever since it crossed over going down on the 10th of August. So we'll continue to watch. All right, and again, we may have a backup. If we do, we may find the ability to jump back in on a big down move. You might say, how do we jump in and make money when the market goes down? That is in an inverse fund like QID. If you haven't listened to our training yet at the website on inverse funds, how to make money when markets crash, you got to hear that training. It's just what you need. You can also find it at YouTube. Now, lastly, before we run out of time, let's look at gold. Gold is still trending down. Nice 2-day trend line going down on gold. Derivative oscillator continued to heat up. MACD and signal line continued to move down. If we look intraday on gold, what do we see? Gold is still well below the 2-day trend line. Crossed over going down back on the afternoon of the 19th of August. Those of you who jumped in, you've done quite well, haven't you? Now, continue to pay attention, though, because gold has slid sideways quite a bit. You don't want to lose what you've earned, but at the same time, it's still in a confirmed down move. So just pay attention. At any time you feel comfortable taking some of your virtual profits, you can do so, but just keep an eye on gold. Hadn't crossed over going up yet. Derivative oscillator is losing energy. MACD is moving toward the signal line. Could just be a backup. But pay attention to the 2-day trend line also. That is where we ended the market on Monday as we go into Tuesday, the 30th of August. Thank you so much for being with us. Again, if you hadn't already listened to our weekly review and forecast, you need it. If you want to help us out in the response to a little bit of payback, we would sure appreciate it. How do you do that? You go and you sign up for our podcast on iTunes. Give us a 5-star rating. Help continue to move us up in those rankings. You guys have gotten us as high as number 6 in the world as far as stock trading podcast goes, and we very much appreciate that. Please continue to help us out. And also, we're getting closer every day to 1,000 subscribers at YouTube. When we hit the 1,000 subscribers, the folks who are our subscribers will then be able to receive proprietary broadcasts. That's a big deal. You have to have 1,000 subscribers. We know thousands listen every week, but we want that 1,000 hardcore subscribers. Be one of those and benefit. Thank you so much, friends. We love to hear from you. Always write us at chartingwealth.com. Again, sign up for the daily newsletter there, and we will send you all this information, plus all the training that we put out. God bless you. Thanks so much from chartingwealth.com.